Let's face it, attraction can feel like a game you're always losing. You've been there, haven't you? Giving your time, your energy, even bits of yourself, hoping someone would finally see you. But instead, you're left staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. asking, why am I invisible to them? You've tried being sweet. You've tried being distant. You've tried the advice about playing hard to get. Yet, here you are, frustrated, unseen and drained. It's as if love has turned into an uphill battle, and no matter how much effort you put in, you can't seem to win. Here's the truth. The more you chase someone, the less they value you. The more you offer yourself on a silver platter, the faster they lose interest. But this isn't your fault. Society has conditioned us to believe love is about effort, about chasing, pleading, and winning someone over. It's not. Love, connection, and attraction are about value and perception. What if I told you there's a better way? A smarter way? A way grounded in the psychology of connection that doesn't require you to play manipulative games or lose your sense of worth. These tricks are not about deception, they're about understanding human nature. They're about becoming the kind of person who draws others in effortlessly. Picture yourself as a lighthouse, strong, unshakable, and radiant. You don't chase ships, you stand tall, and they come to you. That's the mindset we're stepping into today, a mindset rooted in Stoicism. It's about control, balance, and understanding what truly makes people tick. So, are you ready to uncover 11 dark psychological tricks that could make anyone think about you day and night? Stick with me because each one builds on the last, leading you to something deeper, sharper, and, honestly, life-changing. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll not only have the tools to captivate anyone, but you'll also feel more powerful and confident in who you are. Let's dive in. Trick 1. Play to their ego. Stop for a moment and think about this. What drives people at their core? Fame? Love? Happiness? While those are big answers, there's one undeniable force that shapes almost every action: the ego. Everyone has a vision of themselves. It's the story they tell the world, and more importantly, it's the story they tell themselves. Maybe they see themselves as intelligent, kind, creative, or funny. The ego is a fragile, intricate thing, and when someone validates it, even subtly, it becomes almost impossible to resist them. So how do you use this to make someone obsessed with you? By feeding their ego, but in a way that feels authentic, not forced. Imagine this. You're on a date, and the person you're attracted to mentions their passion for photography. Most people would smile politely and say, "Oh, that's cool." But not you. You're smarter than that. You lean in and say something like, "You know, most people miss the little details, but I can tell you really see the world differently. Your eye for beauty, that's rare." Now let's pause. Why does this work? Because in just a few words, you've done something extraordinary. You've validated their identity. You've reflected back to them an image they want to see, an image they're proud of. And here's the kicker. You didn't just compliment their skills, you complimented how they see the world. That's not flattery, it's connection. Think back to the last time someone told you something that made you feel truly seen. Not a generic compliment like "you're nice," but something that spoke to who you are. Didn't it linger in your mind? Didn't it make you think about that person just a little more? That's the power you're tapping into here. But let me be clear, this isn't about manipulation. Stoicism teaches us to understand others, not to control them. When you play to someone's ego, you're not faking interest or feeding them empty praise. You're taking a moment to notice something real about them and reflecting it back with intention. It's about building rapport, not control. Now let's talk about balance. Overdoing this will backfire. If every sentence you speak is about how amazing or unique they are, it loses its power. The ego responds best to subtlety, like a gentle nudge, not a shove. Pay attention. Observe what makes them light up. Is it their intelligence? Their humor? Their ambition? Once you see it, feed it sparingly and strategically. For example, let's say you're texting them after a conversation. Instead of saying, "You're so smart, try. You know, I haven't stopped thinking about the way you explained that. It's rare to meet someone who thinks like you." See the difference? It's personal, specific, and speaks to their identity. They're no longer just hearing words, they're feeling something. The psychology here is simple but profound. People are drawn to those who make them feel seen, heard, and valued. When you reflect back their best self, you become the mirror they can't look away from. And the more they see themselves in you, the stronger the bond grows. But let me leave you with a question. What kind of mirrors are you surrounding yourself with? Are the people in your life validating your best self, or are they tearing you down? Stoicism reminds us that while we can influence others, we must also guard our own identity. Validation is a powerful tool, but only when used with authenticity and respect. So here's your challenge. The next time you're with someone you want to impress, don't rely on flattery. Instead, look for the thing that makes them light up and reflect it back to them in a way that feels natural. Don't overthink it, just be present, observant, and intentional. Now, are you ready for the next trick? This was just the beginning. Each step gets deeper, sharper, and more precise, so don't go anywhere. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Trick 2. Name drop like a pro. Let me ask you something. When was the last time someone said your name in a way that made you stop and notice? Not just a casual hey, but when someone used your name with intention, like they were truly speaking to you. How did it feel? If you're honest with yourself, it probably made you feel seen, important, even. That's because your name is more than just a word. It's the core of your identity. It's the sweetest sound to your ears. It cuts through noise, commands attention, and most importantly, leaves an imprint on your subconscious mind. That's the magic of using someone's name, and why it's one of the most powerful psychological tricks you'll ever use. Here's the reality. Most people don't use names enough in conversations. They rely on generic phrases like hey, you, or yeah, that's cool. These words roll off the tongue, but they don't stick. They're forgettable. When you drop someone's name strategically and subtly, it shifts the dynamic. Suddenly, you're not just speaking to them, you're reaching them. Picture this. You're sitting across from someone you're wildly attracted to, nervous, fumbling for the right thing to say. Instead of rambling or relying on small talk, you slip their name into the conversation. Something simple like, "You know, Sarah, the way you look at life is really refreshing. Not everyone has that kind of perspective." Or if you're texting, "I had such a great time talking to you, Jake. You really made me think differently about that." It's subtle, almost invisible, but it's precise, and it works like a charm. Why? Because you're engaging their mind on a deeper level. When someone hears their name, their brain perks up like a light flickering on in a dark room. It's primal, automatic, and impossible to ignore. Now, let's address the key here: intentionality. Dropping someone's name doesn't mean saying it in every sentence like a broken record. That's not charming, that's creepy. Instead, use it naturally, where it fits, and where it feels authentic. Think of it like seasoning a dish. Too little and they won't notice. Too much, and it leaves a bad taste. Just the right amount, though, and now it's unforgettable. And don't forget the tone. When you say their name, slow down just a little, soften your voice, and let it land. This isn't just about the words, it's about how you deliver them. The more deliberate you are, the more powerful the effect. Let me take you one step further. Combine their name with a compliment or an observation. For example, "Sarah, you seem like the kind of person who doesn't let stress get to her. That's pretty rare." Or, "Jake, it's clear you really put thought into the things you say. Most people don't." Here's the beauty of this technique. It's not about flattery. It's about connection. When you use their name, you're telling them you matter. "I see you. You're important to me." And that's addictive. But let me pause here and ask you this. How often do you use someone's name in conversation? Do you notice how people respond when you do? Try it the next time you're talking to someone, whether it's a crush, a friend, or even a coworker. Watch their body language. Notice the slight change, the way they lean in, the way their eyes widen just a bit, or the way their voice softens. You see, when you master this trick, you're no longer just someone in their life. You're the person who makes them feel seen. And trust me, there's nothing more magnetic than that. But before I move on, I want you to do something for me. If you're already loving these tips and you can't wait to try this one out, hit that like button right now. And while you're at it, drop a number 1 in the comments to let me know this trick resonated with you. And if you're serious about leveling up your confidence and learning how to attract people naturally, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've got even more powerful techniques coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. Trick 3. Mirror their world. Let's step into something deeper, the kind of connection that doesn't need words to be felt. Have you ever met someone and thought, wow, we just click, like the two of you were perfectly in sync? The conversation flowed effortlessly, your energy matched, and it felt like you'd known them forever. Chances are they were mirroring you without either of you even realizing it. This trick works because it taps into one of the most powerful forces of human psychology: familiarity. People are naturally drawn to those who feel similar to them. Why? Because familiarity feels safe. It feels comfortable. It feels like home. And when someone feels that around you, they won't even know why, they'll just want more of it. Mirroring is exactly what it sounds like, subtly reflecting someone's energy, habits, and vibe. It's not about copying them like a parrot or turning into a carbon copy of who they are. That's fake, and people can smell inauthenticity from a mile away. Instead, mirroring is about creating an unspoken rhythm, a dance where you move with them naturally. It's about showing them, hey, we're on the same wavelength. Here's how you do it. Let's say you're sitting across from someone you're interested in. Watch their body language. If they lean forward, you lean forward slightly. If they relax and settle into their chair, you do the same. Notice their tone of voice. If they're speaking softly, meet them there. If their energy is high and animated, bring your energy up just a bit to match theirs. The trick here is subtlety. Mirroring works best when it feels unconscious, like you're naturally in sync. If you overdo it, it feels forced, and that ruins the magic. But let's take it a step further, because mirroring isn't just about body language. It's also about stepping into their world. What do I mean by that? People are passionate about certain things, hobbies, opinions, dreams, and those passions are the doorway to their inner world. When you show genuine interest in what they love, you're creating a bridge between you and them. You're saying, I see what lights you up, and I want to know more. Here's an example. Imagine your crush mentions that they love hiking. Most people would nod and say something generic like, oh, that's cool. But not you. Instead, you ask a question. Really? What's your favorite trail? I've been meaning to get into hiking. I'd love to hear your recommendations. What just happened? You didn't pretend to be a hiking expert. You didn't lie or fake enthusiasm. You stepped into their world with curiosity. You made them feel heard and understood. And here's the thing about people who are passionate about something. They love talking about it. When you invite them to share, you create an emotional connection without even trying. And it's not just about activities, it's about the little things too. Their choice of words, their sense of humor, their unique way of seeing the world. Pay attention to those details. If they use certain phrases, mirror them back later in the conversation. If they describe their weekend as super chill, you might say, I could use a chill weekend like that too. See how subtle that is? You're not mimicking them, you're harmonizing with them. It's like you're speaking their language, and people love hearing their own language spoken back to them. Why does this work so well? Because at our core, we're all searching for connection. We want to feel seen, heard, and understood. Mirroring creates that connection without words. It's primal, it's unspoken, and it's incredibly powerful. But there's one key rule to remember. Be authentic. Stoicism reminds us to act with intention and integrity. This isn't about faking who you are to win someone's approval. It's about finding where you align naturally and building on that. If you're not genuinely interested in their passions, don't pretend to be. Instead, ask questions. Be curious. Let your interest grow organically. When you mirror someone's world, you're telling them we're alike. We get each other. And that's hard to resist. Because the truth is, we all love the feeling of being understood, don't we? It's rare. It's powerful. And when you create that kind of connection, they'll think about you long after you're gone. Let me leave you with this. The next time you're with someone you're drawn to, slow down. Watch. Listen. Step into their rhythm, not because you're trying to win them over, but because you're genuinely present. The most magnetic people aren't the ones who try the hardest to be noticed. They're the ones who know how to meet others where they are. And just like that, you'll become the person they can't stop thinking about. Now, are you ready for what's next? Because trick 4 is about taking compliments to an entirely new level, one that leaves them replaying your words over and over in their mind. Stick around because it only gets sharper from here. Trick 4. Reverse compliments. Let's get real for a moment. How many times have you given someone a compliment and watched it fall flat? You told them they looked great, or you admired something about them, and all you got in return was a polite smile or a casual thanks that didn't even seem to register. Frustrating, isn't it? You poured out gold, and it felt like they didn't even hear you. Here's the hard truth. Straightforward compliments are nice, but they're fleeting. Why? Because they're predictable. Predictability doesn't leave an impact. It doesn't make someone think about you after you've left the room. If you want to stay in someone's mind, you need to compliment them in a way that's unexpected, something that challenges them just enough to make your words linger. Enter the reverse compliment. This isn't flattery, it's intrigue. It's a compliment that comes with a twist, a subtle challenge that makes them stop, think, and remember you. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're at a party and the person you're attracted to says something clever that gets a laugh from the group. Most people would say, "Wow, you're so smart," or "That's funny." But not you. Instead, you smile, raise an eyebrow, and say, "I didn't expect you to come up with something that's sharp." That's impressive. What just happened? You gave them praise, but you wrapped it in a gentle surprise. It's not just a compliment, it's a playful nudge. Suddenly, they're wondering, what did they mean by "I didn't expect that"? Or do I seem like someone who wouldn't come up with something clever? Wait, do they see me differently than everyone else? See how powerful that is? It's not negative. It's not an insult. It's a compliment with an edge, a little seed of curiosity that plants itself in their mind and stays there. They're not brushing it off like a regular "you're amazing." Instead, they're replaying it in their head, trying to decode what you really meant. Here's another example. Let's say you're texting someone and they mention something thoughtful they did. Instead of saying "you're so kind," you can flip it and say, "Wow, I wouldn't have guessed you'd be that thoughtful." That's refreshing. It's simple, it's subtle, and it works because it creates a tension between validation and challenge. You're complimenting them, but you're also defying their expectations in a way that makes them want to prove themselves to you. That's the magic of a reverse compliment. It shifts the energy in your favor. Now, let's take this a step deeper. Why does this trick work so well? Because human psychology is wired to crave approval, but not too easily. When someone gives us a compliment that feels earned, one that makes us pause and analyze it, we value it more. It sticks because it's layered. Here's where Stoicism comes in. You're not using this to manipulate. You're not tearing someone down to lift yourself up. You're sparking a deeper connection by challenging them in a way that feels playful and real. You're pushing them to be their best self in your presence. A reverse compliment isn't about control, it's about authenticity with a dash of intrigue. But let's be clear about one thing. Balance is everything. If you overuse this technique, it will lose its charm and start to feel disingenuous. You're not throwing challenges left and right just to mess with their head. The key is to sprinkle it in naturally, when the moment feels right. Think of it like adding spice to a dish. Too much ruins the flavor, but just the right amount creates something unforgettable. Now, I want you to try this out. The next time you're talking to someone you're interested in, skip the usual compliments. Instead, challenge yourself to deliver one reverse compliment. Watch their reaction. Notice how they pause, how their eyes narrow slightly, and how they lean in just a little more. That's the sign that your words have hit their mark. And here's a little challenge for you right now. If you're excited to try this trick, and you can already think of a situation where it'll work, hit that like button and drop a number 1 in the comments below. Let me know this one resonated with you. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because the next trick, it's all about learning how to give less while making yourself feel like the most valuable person in the room. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Trick 5. Keep them on their toes. Let's talk about something most people get wrong when it comes to attraction: predictability. You see, when you're always available, always attentive, and always the one putting in effort, you might think you're showing how much you care. But here's the harsh reality. Being predictable is the fastest way to lose someone's interest. Think about it for a moment. What happens when you know exactly how a movie ends? You stop watching. What happens when you know every beat of a song before it plays? It stops exciting you. People crave the unexpected, little twists, moments of uncertainty, and the kind of excitement that makes them lean in just to see what happens next. Attraction works the same way. The more someone can predict your actions, the less they value your presence. If you're always there, texting first, complimenting, planning, and showing up on cue, you're making it easy for them to take you for granted. Your attention becomes routine, and routine doesn't spark obsession. It breeds complacency. But when you keep them on their toes, you create an air of unpredictability that feels thrilling and alive. You stop being someone they can pin down, and you become someone they think about constantly. Why? Because you've introduced uncertainty into their mind. Here's how you do it. Start breaking the patterns they've come to expect from you. If you're always the first to text, hold back once in a while. If you're constantly available to hang out, let them see you prioritizing your own plans. If you've been giving all of your attention freely, pull back just a bit and let them feel the absence of it. This isn't about playing games or ghosting. Stoicism reminds us that balance is everything. You're not disappearing from their life or punishing them with silence. You're creating space, just enough for them to realize that your presence is a gift, not a given. Imagine this. One day you're warm, engaging, and fully present in the conversation. You laugh at their jokes, make meaningful eye contact, and let them feel your full energy. But the next day, you're a little quieter. You're focused on your work, your hobbies, or your own life. Not cold, not distant, just less available. What happens next is fascinating. They'll start to wonder, did I do something? Why aren't they as engaged today? Did I lose their attention? This isn't about making them insecure, it's about creating curiosity. You're teaching them that your energy isn't guaranteed and they need to invest to keep it. This works because of a simple truth. Humans value what they have to work for. If your attention is always freely given, it loses its weight. But when they feel like they have to earn it, even just a little, they begin to chase you. They start texting first. They put in more effort to keep you interested. And suddenly the balance shifts. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Isn't this just manipulation? Not if you're doing it with the right mindset. Keeping someone on their toes isn't about playing cruel games or hurting them. It's about creating a dynamic where both of you invest in the connection. Stoicism teaches us to value ourselves, and part of that means not pouring all of your energy into someone who hasn't earned it. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine yourself as a rare book sitting on a shelf. If anyone can pick you up, flip through your pages, and walk away, you become just another book. But if someone feels like they've stumbled upon something unique, something they have to invest in to fully understand, they'll value it so much more. Keeping someone on their toes is about being the rare book. You're not closing yourself off or pretending to be something you're not. You're showing that you're someone worth discovering, someone with layers, boundaries, and a life that's full even without them in it. And here's the magic. When you pull back even slightly, it gives them space to lean in. That's where the obsession begins. They'll start noticing your absence. They'll start wondering what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're not giving them as much attention as before. That tiny bit of uncertainty creates a pull they can't resist. But let me be clear. This isn't about withholding love or affection. It's about teaching others to value you as much as you value yourself. It's about creating a healthy push-pull dynamic where your energy feels like something rare and worth pursuing. When done right, This trick doesn't just make you more attractive, it makes you more confident and powerful in your own life. So let me ask you, are you giving too much of yourself too easily? Are you making it too predictable for someone to have your time and attention? If the answer is yes, then it's time to shift. Take a step back. Create space. Let them feel what it's like to miss you. Because the truth is, people don't fall for what's always available. They fall for what feels valuable. When you keep them on their toes, you're not just someone they like, you're someone they need. Now take a deep breath and ask yourself, what parts of your life can you start prioritizing for yourself today? Start there. Build your confidence. The more you focus on your own growth, the more magnetic you'll naturally become. And when you're ready, stick around for trick 6. It's about giving yourself in a way that feels like a gift, one they'll never want to take for granted. This is where things get even more powerful. Don't go anywhere, you're just getting started. Trick 6. Give them the gift of you. Let's stop for a moment and reflect. Are you giving too much of yourself away? Think about it. How many times have you poured your energy, time, and attention into someone, only to feel like they barely noticed? You planned the dates, sent the texts, gave the compliments, and made them the center of your world. Yet instead of being drawn closer, they pulled away. Why does this happen? Here's the truth most people overlook. People don't value what's handed to them freely. When you give yourself completely without hesitation or boundaries, you make it too easy for them to take you for granted. That's why this next trick is so powerful, because it flips the dynamic entirely. Instead of overwhelming them with your presence, you learn to give yourself in doses, small, meaningful moments that feel like a rare gift. Imagine this. You're in a high-end store, and someone hands you a beautifully wrapped item. It's not thrown at you or presented carelessly. It's intentional. It's special. And because it feels exclusive, you want it. The value of the item didn't change. How it was presented did. You are that gift. When you treat yourself like something rare and valuable, others begin to see you that way too. Giving them the gift of you means sharing pieces of yourself thoughtfully and intentionally, leaving them wanting more. Let's break it down into action. Say you're talking to someone you're attracted to. Instead of spilling your entire life story or giving all your attention at once, you share something personal but brief. Maybe it's a quirky habit, a dream you're chasing, or a funny childhood memory. Keep it sincere and meaningful, but don't give away everything. For example, it's funny you mentioned traveling. I have this dream of hiking through Iceland one day. There's something about the landscapes there that feels so peaceful. And then you stop. You don't ramble. You don't over-explain. You leave just enough for them to lean in and say, "Wait, tell me more about that. What just happened?" You gave them a glimpse of who you are, a small window into your world, but you didn't throw the door wide open. That curiosity you've sparked is where the magic happens. They'll keep thinking about you because they want to know more. You've created a sense of mystery while still being authentic. Here's the key. It's not about holding back to play games. Stoicism teaches us to act with intention and balance. When you treat yourself like a rare treasure, you set a boundary that teaches others to respect your time, energy, and presence. You're showing them that you're not desperate for their attention. Instead, you're offering it in ways that feel meaningful and earned. This mindset shift is transformative. When you stop giving everything away, you start choosing what parts of yourself you share and with whom. That choice empowers you. It makes you magnetic because your presence no longer feels like something anyone can have. It feels like a privilege. Think of it like this. When someone gets just a taste of who you are, they'll crave more. They'll want to ask questions. They'll look for opportunities to connect with you again. You're not chasing them anymore. They're leaning into you. Here's another scenario. You're texting someone and they ask about your day. Instead of unloading every detail, you give a thoughtful, intriguing answer. "Today was good, worked on something I'm really proud of, but I'll tell you about it another time. What about you?" Notice what you did? You shared just enough to show you're engaged, but you also created curiosity. You've invited them to come closer without forcing the connection. You're leading the dance and they're following. This trick is all about balance. You're not being distant or cold. You're simply creating value around your presence. The people who are truly interested will step up. They'll make an effort. And when they do, the connection becomes stronger because they've earned a place in your world. But here's the part that matters most. To give the gift of yourself, you must first believe in your own worth. You have to see yourself as someone rare, someone who deserves effort, respect, and genuine interest. When you embody that mindset, others can't help but see it too. Now, let me ask you something. How often are you giving away too much of yourself too quickly? Are you letting others earn a place in your life, or are you handing over your energy without a second thought? If this resonates with you, it's time to shift. Start treating your presence like the rare and valuable gift it is. And if you're ready to take back control, let's keep this conversation going. If you're loving these tips so far, hit that like button and drop a number 1 in the comments to let me know this one struck a chord with you. And don't forget, if you're serious about becoming magnetic and confident, subscribe to the channel. I promise you, what's coming next will take your mindset and attraction game to a whole new level. Trick 7. Weaponize their insecurities. Let's tread carefully here. This trick is delicate, but when done with the right intentions, it can build an unshakable connection. Before you get the wrong idea, let me clarify something. Weaponizing insecurities does not mean tearing someone down. It doesn't mean exploiting their vulnerabilities to make yourself feel powerful. That's not attraction, that's cruelty. Stoicism reminds us to act with virtue and integrity, even when we're seeking deeper connections. This trick is about understanding someone's insecurities, truly seeing them, and flipping those insecurities into moments of reassurance, acceptance, and trust. Why does this work? Because insecurities are deeply personal. When someone allows you a glimpse of their flaws, they're handing you something fragile and raw. If you can hold that space for them with care, you become someone they associate with safety, understanding, and acceptance. Here's an example. Let's say your crush opens up about something they're insecure about. Maybe they quietly admit, "I'm terrible at public speaking. I always feel like I mess up." Most people would brush this off, offering a casual, "Oh no, you're fine." But you're not most people. Instead of dismissing their feelings, you validate them and reframe their insecurity into something beautiful. You might say, "I get why you'd feel that way. It's tough standing in front of people. But honestly, I've noticed that when you explain things, you're so clear and calm. It's like you have this way of making things easy to understand." What did you do there? You didn't deny their insecurity. You acknowledged it, accepted it, and then gently flipped it into a strength they might not even see in themselves. This is powerful because people are often their own harshest critics. When you offer them a new perspective, one that frames their perceived weakness as something admirable, it sticks. They'll associate you with the feeling of being seen and accepted, flaws and all. Now think about why this matters. We live in a world where most people hide behind masks, polished versions of themselves that they think others want to see. Admitting insecurities takes courage, so when someone shares theirs with you, they're testing the waters. They're saying, "Will you accept me even if I'm not perfect?" When you rise to that moment and show them you do, you become unforgettable. But here's where the trick gets even more interesting. The way you handle someone's insecurities shapes how they feel about you. If they associate you with feeling good about themselves, they'll seek out your presence more. It's like a gravitational pull. You're not just someone who makes them laugh or holds a good conversation, you're someone who makes them feel safe. And in a world full of judgment, that's rare. So how do you approach this without crossing any lines? First, pay attention. Insecurities often show up in subtle ways, offhand comments, nervous laughter, or moments when they downplay themselves. Second, be sincere. This isn't about flattery or manipulation. If you can't genuinely see the good in someone's vulnerability, don't force it. And finally, understand that timing is everything. If someone opens up to you, it's a moment of trust. Don't rush to fix them or overwhelm them with advice. Sometimes all they need to hear is, "I understand." Sometimes all they need is for you to see the part of themselves they're trying to hide and let them know it's okay. This trick isn't about making someone feel weak, it's about making them feel whole. When you approach someone's insecurities with kindness and care, You create a bond that's both powerful and real. Trick 8. Copy and paste their world. Let me ask you this. How do you feel when someone truly gets you? When they understand what lights you up, what makes you tick, and what keeps you up at night? It feels amazing, doesn't it? Like you finally found someone who speaks your language. That's exactly what this trick is about, stepping into someone's world and reflecting it back to them in a way that feels natural and effortless. The goal here isn't to pretend to be someone you're not. It's to show genuine interest in what matters to them. Because when you do, you create a sense of familiarity, a feeling of sameness that draws people closer to you. Here's how it works. People are naturally drawn to those who share their interests, passions, and experiences. When you take the time to step into their world, even in small ways, it sends a powerful message. I see you, I hear you, and I care about what matters to you. Let's say your crush is really into a niche hobby. Maybe it's photography, hiking, or even collecting vinyl records. Most people would nod politely and say, oh, that's cool. But you dig deeper. You ask questions. You reflect their interests back to them in ways that show you're engaged. For example, if they love hiking, you could say, I've been hearing about some amazing trails lately. Do you have a favorite one you'd recommend? You're not pretending to be a hiking expert. You're not faking enthusiasm. You're showing curiosity. And curiosity is magnetic. When someone sees that you're genuinely interested in their world, they'll start to feel like you belong in it. Now, let's take this idea a step further. Pay attention to the words they use, their vocabulary, their tone, the little quirks that make them unique. Then, reflect those back to them. If they describe something as wild or unreal, you can use those same words later in the conversation. It's subtle, but it creates an unspoken connection that says, we're on the same page. Here's the psychology behind it. People love themselves. They love seeing their thoughts, passions, and words reflected back to them because it feels familiar. It feels like home. When you mirror their world, you're creating a sense of unity, a feeling of us instead of you and me. But let me make one thing clear. Authenticity is everything. Stoicism teaches us to act with integrity, and that applies here too. This isn't about pretending to share someone's passions when you don't. It's about finding genuine points of connection and exploring their world with curiosity and respect. Maybe their interests aren't your thing at first. That's okay. Be open. Ask questions. Learn. When you show that you're willing to step into their world, you're showing that you're present, that you care. And trust me, that effort does not go unnoticed. Because at the end of the day, people don't want someone who just listens passively. They want someone who understands. Someone who says, this thing you love? I see why it matters to you, and I think it's incredible. So here's your challenge. The next time someone shares something they care about, don't brush it off. Ask a follow-up question. Dig deeper. Show them that you're not just hearing their words, you're connecting with their passion. When you do, you'll start to feel the shift. They'll open up more. They'll trust you more. And they'll start to see you as someone who belongs in their life. Because when someone feels like you understand their world, you're no longer just another person in their life. You're the person who gets them. And that's unforgettable. Trick 9. You're not like the others card. Let me ask you something. How many times have you felt like just another face in someone's crowd? Like no matter how much you try to stand out, you blend into the noise of everyone else. The truth is, everyone has that fear. Deep down, we all want to be seen as unique, different, valuable, special. That's why this trick is so powerful. When you make someone feel like they're not like the others, you tap into a universal human desire, the need to feel exceptional. This isn't about empty flattery or shallow praise. It's about showing them, authentically and specifically, that you see something in them that others don't. It's about making them feel like they matter to you in a way no one else does. Here's how it works. During a conversation, pay attention. Really listen. People give away little hints about themselves all the time, hobbies they're passionate about, quirky habits, or unique perspectives they have. Most people miss these details because they're too focused on what to say next. But when you're present and observant, you'll find the golden opportunities to say something that sticks. For example, imagine you're talking to someone who loves reading classic literature. Instead of saying something generic like "that's cool, I like books too," you lean in and say, "Most people stick to whatever's trending, but you seem to love things with real depth. I don't meet many people like that, it's refreshing." What did you just do? You made them feel seen. Not for something superficial, but for a part of themselves they're quietly proud of. You pointed out their uniqueness in a way that feels personal and sincere. That's what makes this trick so powerful. It's not about saying they're different for the sake of it. It's about noticing why they're different and showing that you appreciate it. Let's take another example. Maybe your crush has a sense of humor that's witty and sharp, not the kind of thing everyone notices. Instead of simply laughing along, you say, "You know, I don't think most people catch how quick you are with your humor. It's like there's this clever side to you that flies under the radar. It's pretty rare." Do you see what's happening here? You're telling them that they stand out, that they're not like everyone else, and you're backing it up with something specific. This specificity is what makes your words hit harder. It shows that you're paying attention, that you're not just throwing out compliments to impress them. You're reflecting back a part of them they might not even realize you see. Here's the psychology. People want to feel special, but they don't want it handed to them in an obvious or generic way. When you show someone that you see something unique in them, it feels earned. It feels real. And because of that, they start associating you with the feeling of being exceptional. You're no longer just another person in their life. You're the person who gets them, who sees the side of them others don't. But here's where the real magic happens. When you make someone feel like they're not like the others, you become someone they don't want to lose. Why? Because you've set yourself apart too. In showing them their uniqueness, you've subtly communicated your own. You're not just another admirer. You're someone who sees them differently, and that makes you different too. Now let's talk about doing this the right way. This trick only works when it's authentic. Stoicism reminds us to act with integrity, and that means being sincere in your words. If you force it, if you say they're unique when you don't actually mean it, they'll sense the emptiness in your compliment. People are sharper than you think. They know when someone is being real and when they're not. So don't fake it. Instead, slow down, be curious, pay attention to the little things that make them them. What are they passionate about? What perspectives do they hold that feel different from others? Find the details that set them apart, and then let them know. When you do, you'll create a bond that feels deeper than words. Here's the challenge. Start looking at the people in your life through this lens. Practice noticing the details that make them special, and let them know in a way that feels natural. Instead of saying, "You're amazing," say, "I don't think I've ever met someone who thinks about life the way you do. It's fascinating." Instead of "You're so talented," say, "Most people don't have the patience to master something like that, but you clearly do. It's rare." When you master this, you'll leave a mark on people they can't shake. They'll replay your words in their mind, wondering why it felt so different when you said it. They'll start seeing themselves through the lens you've offered them, one where they feel special, valued, and unforgettable. Because the truth is, people don't remember what you say, they remember how you make them feel. And when you make them feel like they're not just another person in the crowd, you become someone they can't stop thinking about. So ask yourself, how often are you paying attention to the uniqueness in others? Start noticing it. Start speaking to it. When you do, you'll set yourself apart in ways that no one else can. And trust me, this isn't just about attraction. It's about creating connections that are meaningful, authentic, and real. Because when you see someone for who they truly are, they'll never forget the way you made them feel. Trick 10. The gaze that grazes. Let's talk about something primal, something so simple, yet so powerful that it doesn't require a single word. Eye contact. You see, the eyes don't just look, they connect. When done right, eye contact creates a silent dialogue that stirs something deep in the subconscious. It can shift the energy in a room, disarm someone, and leave them thinking about you long after you've walked away. But here's the thing. Most people get this wrong. They either avoid eye contact entirely, looking down, glancing away nervously, or they turn it into a staring contest that feels forced and uncomfortable. Both extremes kill the magic. The trick lies in balance, a gaze that grazes, a look that lingers just long enough to spark something without overwhelming. Let me paint you a picture. You're talking to someone you're drawn to. Instead of looking at your phone, scanning the room, or nervously fidgeting, you focus on them. When they speak, you hold their gaze, not too long, just a few seconds longer than feels normal. You let your eyes soften slightly, like you're truly seeing them, and then you break the gaze gracefully. Maybe you glance down at your drink, smile, or look away briefly before returning your attention to them. That subtle moment, the pause, the look away, is where the tension builds. You're not devouring them with your stare. You're grazing them with your gaze, like a gentle touch that leaves them wondering, what was that? Why does this work so well? Because eye contact triggers emotional responses. It's intimate. It's vulnerable. And in a world full of distractions, it's rare. Most people are too busy staring at screens or faking interest in conversations. When you look someone in the eyes with real intention, you're telling them, I see you. I'm here with you. That's powerful. It makes them feel important, and people are drawn to those who make them feel seen. But here's where it gets even better. The way you break the gaze matters just as much as the gaze itself. If you hold someone's eyes for a beat too long and then look away with a slight smile, it creates a sense of intrigue. You're saying, I noticed you. I'm interested. But you'll have to come closer to know more. That little push and pull. That's the spark that keeps them thinking about you. Let me give you a practical example. You're sitting across from someone at a dinner or coffee date. As they're speaking, you hold their gaze and let them see your focus. Then when they finish, you smile softly and look down at your cup for just a moment before looking back at them. You've created a rhythm. Focus, break, return. That rhythm draws them in because it feels natural, not forced. The same works in group settings. Imagine you're at a party and your eyes meet someone's across the room. Instead of darting away immediately, you hold their gaze for a beat longer, just enough for them to notice. Then you look away calmly, like it's no big deal. That moment of connection, however brief, leaves an impact. It lingers. And if you cross paths again, that unspoken tension will still be there. Here's the truth. People are not used to being seen this way. Most conversations are surface level, distractions, small talk, and nervous fidgeting. Eye contact breaks through all of that. It builds trust, deepens intimacy, and creates a magnetic connection without saying a single word. But remember, this isn't about staring someone down. It's about being intentional. Stoicism teaches us the power of presence, to be fully where you are. That's what eye contact communicates. Presence. You're not trying to impress them, dominate them, or seek approval. You're simply with them, calm, confident, and grounded. If you want to leave a mark on someone, master the gaze that grazes. It's subtle, it's powerful, and it speaks louder than words ever could. Trick 11. The favor hook. Here's a trick so subtle, so counterintuitive, that it might surprise you. If you want someone to like you more, get them to do something for you. Sounds backwards, doesn't it? You'd think that winning someone over means doing nice things for them, showering them with favors, compliments, and effort. But in reality, the opposite is often true. It's called the Benjamin Franklin effect. And here's why it works. When someone does a favor for you, no matter how small, their subconscious mind begins to justify it. They think, I wouldn't help someone I don't like. I must like them. Let's break this down practically. You're not asking for something big or burdensome. The key here is small, natural favors, something they won't even think twice about doing. It could be as simple as, hey, can you hand me that? I'm torn between two options. What would you pick? You're good at this kind of thing. Can you help me figure this out? These small requests create a sense of investment. They've put effort into helping you, and now they're subconsciously more attached to you. Why? Because people value what they invest in. Let's say you're talking to someone you like, and you casually mention you're struggling to decide on a book, a movie, or a restaurant. Instead of solving it yourself, you ask for their opinion. You seem like you'd have great taste. What would you choose? What happens next is subtle but powerful. By helping you, they've unconsciously taken a step closer to you. And here's the kicker. The more they help you, the more they'll start to feel invested in you. It's like planting tiny seeds in their mind that quietly grow into attachment. This works in relationships too. If you're dating someone, instead of constantly doing everything for them, create small moments where they can invest in you. Maybe you ask them to grab something from the store or help you decide on a project you're working on. These moments might seem insignificant, but they create a balance, one where they're actively putting effort into the connection. Here's the psychology. When we do something for someone, we want to believe we did it for a good reason. The brain doesn't like contradictions, so if they're helping you, they justify it by believing, I must like this person. Why else would I bother? But let me clarify something. This trick isn't about using people. Stoicism teaches us to act with respect and fairness, so the key here is balance. You're not burdening someone or taking advantage of their kindness. You're inviting them to engage with you, to invest in you, in ways that feel natural and effortless. Think about the relationships in your life. Are you constantly the one giving, planning, and solving? If so, it's time to shift. Start asking for small favors. Create opportunities for others to contribute. Because when people invest in you, they're not just helping you, they're building their attachment to you. The favor hook is subtle, but its impact is powerful. It flips the script. Instead of constantly proving your worth to someone, you're inviting them to take small steps toward you. And the more steps they take, the closer they'll feel to you. So ask yourself, where can you start creating opportunities for others to invest in you? Start small, keep it natural, and watch how the energy shifts. And there you have it, 11 dark psychological tricks to make anyone obsessed with you. But let's pause for a moment, because these aren't just tricks. They're tools. Tools rooted in human psychology, emotional intelligence, and authentic connection. Each one isn't about manipulation or control. It's about understanding how attraction works, and how you can show up as someone so magnetic that people naturally gravitate toward you. Think about it. You've learned how to mirror someone's world, how to use eye contact to create silent sparks, how to speak to their ego, and how to make them feel seen in ways no one else does. These strategies build on each other, forming a framework that allows you to connect deeply, naturally, and with intention. But here's the most important thing to remember. True attraction starts with you. When you value yourself, hold your boundaries, and live a life that excites you, people can't help but be drawn to you. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control: our mindset, our presence, and the way we engage with others. These tools work because they empower you to approach relationships from a place of confidence, curiosity, and balance. So what's next? It's time to step into action. Start small. Use these techniques thoughtfully, and watch how the energy shifts around you. You'll notice people leaning in closer, asking more questions, and wanting to be a part of your world. And that's because you've stopped chasing, you become the lighthouse. You stand tall, radiate confidence, and let others come to you. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these strategies resonated with you the most? How are you planning to apply them in your life? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more coming, more tools, more insights, and more ways to help you take control of your relationships in your life. Thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, you already have everything you need to captivate and connect with the people around you. Stay confident, stay intentional, and as always, stay powerful. I'll see you in the next one.